What is up, guys? Welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another video. As always, I'm so excited to have you guys here. If you're new here, hello, welcome. My name's Claire and I'm super passionate about all things health, wellness, and just living a healthy and balanced lifestyle. And on my channel, I love sharing healthy meal ideas so that you guys can go get creative in the kitchen and cook yourself up some yummy and nourishing meals. But as always, I know we're all super excited to get into the food, so let's just get into it.
If spring is the season that wakes me alive, and fall is the season to contemplate life, oh yeah. I don't know what is it exactly in this time of year that makes the melancholy me reappear, oh yeah. Back and forth.
And we're starting out the week pretty basic, just some eggs and avocado toast. And then for lunch, lately I've been making savory oats and they've been so good. So I started by just chopping up some veggies, and then for my spices, you guys know I kind of just experiment and go with whatever I have on hand. I never really measure anything. So I just threw in a bunch of spices. I kind of went with like a curry theme with some cumin, coriander, turmeric, and then I also had some leftover chickpeas in the fridge, so I threw those in as well. I decided, of course, I wanted some tempeh on the side, so I cooked some of that up with some soy sauce, topped it off with some sauerkraut, tahini, and some avocado, and that was my lunch. And for dinner, I was craving kind of a garlicky, creamy pasta dish, so I started by roasting some garlic in the oven, and I blended that with some cashews, water, nutritional yeast, and salt and pepper to make a creamy pasta sauce. While I was making that, I also sauteed some tempeh, boiled my pasta, and just steamed some broccoli as well. I mixed that all up in a pan, and that was dinner. It was super delicious. The one thing is, I didn't really love the pasta. It was a gluten-free pasta, and it ended up just kind of falling apart. So other than that, super delicious. And of course I wanted some dessert after dinner, so I just had some dates and peanut butter. And of course, on Tuesday, I started my day out with some eggs and avocado toast. But if you guys are ever looking for a way to spice up your scrambled eggs or scrambled tofu, I'd recommend adding some kimchi. It just adds that little something extra, makes it a little bit more interesting. And then for lunch, I made one of my favorite go-to lunches lately, which is just a sheet pan roast. I roasted up some squash and Brussels sprouts with salt, pepper, spicy honey, smoked paprika, just the usual. And then I put those into roast, and then I also seasoned up some tofu as well. And the key with my tofu lately is putting in liquid smoke. It does what it sounds like. It gives it a nice smoky flavor. I also added some coconut oil, salt, pepper, garlic powder, and I put that into roast in the last 10 or 15 minutes that the veggies were roasting. And then I attempted to open this brand new jar of sauerkraut. Once I got that open, I topped my bowl off with some sauerkraut, tahini, and after I took a few pictures of this nice looking bowl, I dumped a bunch more tahini on top, and that was my lunch. All right, and for dinner, I had a recipe for a peanut and vegetable stew soup thing that I wanted to try out. Normally, I don't really follow recipes, but I wanted to give this recipe a try, and I kind of regretted it because it ended up being just a little bit too spicy for me, just too much cayenne. So maybe I'd make it again, but with less cayenne. And I ended up having this with some sourdough toast, which kind of helped tone down the spice, you know, just soaked everything up. But yeah, that was my dinner. And of course, I wanted something for dessert. So surprise, surprise, I had some dates and peanut butter. To do some midweek baking, so of course, because it's fall, I wanted to do kind of a pumpkin recipe. I found a recipe for these pumpkin brownies online. I will link the recipe in the description box below because they actually turned out so well. And while my brownies were baking in the oven, I got started on my dinner. I wanted to use the rest of the cashew sauce that I had made on Monday, so I decided to do another pasta dish. I started by chopping up some mushrooms and tempeh, frying those off, and then I just made a little smoky marinade to toss those in. Once those were all cooked, I added my pasta sauce. I also added some spinach. I think I also added some olives as well. I just forgot to film it. And that was my dinner. Oh, I also added some lemon juice, salt, and pepper.
In the backyard of your old farm in the summer.
And on Thursday, I was craving something super cozy for breakfast, so I just made my go-to oatmeal. I will put the recipe for this oatmeal in the description box below. I also stewed up some apples to go on top. I just cooked some apples down with some cinnamon and a little splash of water. Topped it off with some hemp seeds, peanut butter, and some blackstrap molasses, and that was my breakfast.
Sitting in your room, working on my first record.
Didn't want my leftovers from Tuesday to go to waste, so I figured I'd maybe just tone down the spiciness by adding more things. I sauteed up some tofu, added my leftover stew, added some extra peanut butter, nutritional yeast, gave that a good toss. I also added some avocado and sauerkraut on top just to cool everything down. Definitely improved it. It was actually super delicious. And then for for dinner, I made one of my other go-to meals, which is just a sheet pan soup. I just started by roasting a bunch of squash and veggies in the oven, and I added those to my blender with some salt, pepper, and a little bit of silken tofu. You can also use soaked cashews. I just find it gives the soup a nice creamy texture. I also like my soup super thick, almost like more of a vegetable puree. I also just sauteed up some tempeh to go on top, had some sourdough bread, and that was my dinner. And then this weekend was actually Thanksgiving in Canada. I know the Americans celebrate it later in November, and normally we have Thanksgiving dinner either on Sunday or Monday night, but it just worked out for everyone's schedule to have it on Friday. So we had this beautiful Thanksgiving dinner with all of the side dishes and fixings. I ended up having 3 plates. It was amazing. Had some apple crisp, had some wine. That brings us to the end of the video. As always, I hope you guys got some meal ideas or inspiration. If you guys did enjoy the video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. Let me know in the comments. If you're new, make sure to subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.
I ain't got space to be thinking about rolling no dud on my thinking.